Silvio Dante stands out among TV mobsters. He can enter a room and instantly command respect, even though his style looks like it came from a store specializing in flashy midlife crisis outfits. In a group where teasing is both a bonding ritual and a way to compete, the silence about Silvio's appearance, his shiny suits, dramatic walk, constant scowl, and perfectly styled hair, says a lot. The same people who mock each other's personal lives suddenly become polite when Silvio is around. Maybe they're being tactful, or maybe there's a better reason. The simplest answer is that Silvio is genuinely respected, not just in a ceremonial way. He acts like the only adult in a room full of kids, calm, focused, and in control. He's dangerous without needing to show off, which makes him scarier than the loud ones. The crew's jokers only tease those who can take it or can't fight back. Silvio doesn't give them that chance. He's high enough in the ranks that making fun of him could be seen as disrespect, and in this world, disrespect is a serious problem. Being second in command is tough in a group full of egos. People want warmth, dislike authority, and want protection without responsibility. Those who haven't been in his position often underestimate what it takes, which is why they get put in their place. Silvio's role also makes him hard to mock. As consigliere, he tells people what they need to hear, not what they want, and he's allowed to be unpopular because he's valuable. He can be diplomatic when needed, but turns tough if he senses weakness. This is clear when someone like Polly tries to challenge him. Silvio matches the energy without overreacting. That's the difference between someone pretending to be tough and someone who actually is. Silvio seems unusually self-aware for this group. He knows his job, sticks to it, and doesn't mistake noise for real power. Socially, he doesn't pick fights for fun. Many in the crew enjoy mocking and humiliating each other, but Silvio keeps things businesslike. People respond to the energy they get, and since Silvio isn't petty, he's hard to draw into petty arguments. The crew's teasing culture depends on participation, but Silvio usually opts out, which denies the jokers their usual feedback. It's hard to make a running joke about someone who won't play along, and who is known for following through on threats. Still, his appearance stands out, and the show highlights how over the top he can look. His hair is always perfect, his suits are loud, and his gestures, like constant nodding and quoting The Godfather, are almost cartoonish. The show even lets other characters prompt these moments, turning Silvio into a performer rather than a target. The joke stays as an impression, not a personal attack. On a bigger level, the show benefits from not mentioning his hair. Silvio's look is a shortcut. He's the ultimate mob stereotype, almost to the point of parody. The crew also acts like wannabe aristocrats, fancy suits, classical music, and then petty crimes. The contrast is intentional. They act like royalty, but behave badly, and the show reminds us of that. In this world, Silvio's style isn't odd, it's honest. If he didn't look a bit ridiculous, he wouldn't fit the job, because these mobsters are copying movies as much as tradition. The Godfather exists in their world, and Silvio's Al Pacino impression is almost a management tool. Another reason the crew ignores his look is that, compared to their own behavior, his wardrobe is the least shocking thing about him. He runs a strip club, treats women as property, and handles money, discipline, and violence with a business-like attitude. In that context, a bright suit is just decoration. Even among the crew's own questionable fashion choices, Silvio's style seems consistent. It's hard to mock someone's taste when your own suit looks like a last-minute purchase. Some think the silence is about the actor's real-life baldness and possible sensitivity. There are rumors about a head injury and the hair being a protective measure, with the production agreeing not to mention it. That kind of arrangement is believable in a long-running show that wants its actors comfortable. It could also explain why the hair stays in place even during vulnerable moments, like hospital scenes, when most shows would go for realism. But the stronger reason is narrative. The show doesn't talk about Silvio's look because it's a signal, and signals lose power if they're discussed. A mafia crew that constantly mocks its organizer wouldn't be believable. It's not that Silvio can't be mocked, it's that he's above casual teasing. The show shows what happens when characters cross that line. Make the wrong joke at the wrong time, and it can be deadly. Silvio's restraint also leaves a gap that others are hesitant to fill, since there's no safe way to escalate. The story doesn't reward those who try to be bold about his hair. Silvio can be surprisingly gentle, then suddenly become the enforcer for the group's worst actions. Sometimes he seems more honest than the others during moral crises. When Eugene dies by suicide and the crew mocks him, Silvio suggests he might have had brain cancer, giving the group a way to keep their cruelty while pretending to care. When Tony tries to justify a hit on Vito by saying he should have been more discreet, Silvio points out that Vito already was. These moments don't make Silvio good, just perceptive. He sees hypocrisy, even if he still takes part. But there are also scenes that show his dark side. He can be violent without hesitation, like when he attacks Tracy or kills Adriana for betraying the family, even giving her a head start. Some see these acts as necessary in their world. Others see them as crossing a moral line. Silvio doesn't hesitate. He uses violence with the same calm he uses to solve problems, which makes it memorable. The Tracy incident suggests that, in the crew's logic, violence is just a way to manage problems, like fixing a broken register. This is why Silvio is both effective and disturbing. His violence is about control, not losing it. This mix of traits is why the crew avoids mocking him. It's easy to tease someone who's silly and harmless. Silvio is silly and dangerous. His exaggerated look isn't a shield, it's a disguise. His over-the-top hair and scowl go with a cold, calculating personality. Even his funny moments, like his Pacino impression, are ways for the crew to let off steam without challenging the hierarchy. The show also makes him the most reliable gangster. In later seasons, he acts for the family without needing Tony's orders, taking charge when others would wait. He deals with threats quickly and is loyal, unlike most of the crew. Some even think that if the law closed in, most would save themselves, but Silvio wouldn't. Whether true or not, it shows how he's seen: solid, cold, and dependable. This reliability isn't glamorous, but it's rare, and that earns respect. It also explains why Silvio can seem one-sided. He rarely gets his own storylines and is usually there as an advisor, enforcer, or manager, not as a fully developed character. We see little of his life outside the crew, and when he does challenge Tony, it's about business, not rebellion. His private self matters less than his professional role, which means he's written to keep others in line, not to create his own drama. The show's early episodes support this. In the pilot, relationships are less defined, and Tony and Silvio seem more like acquaintances than close partners. The pilot also has stylistic elements that the series later drops, like voiceover and a more traditional gangster feel. It was made to stand alone if needed. Later episodes develop the characters further, turning background figures into key players. The role was also created for Van Zandt, which explains Silvio's unique style and behavior. Some critics say Van Zandt's performance is over the top, especially early on. Others argue that the role was never meant to be subtle. It needed a certain kind of authority. Van Zandt wasn't hired for classical acting, but he fits what the producers wanted: someone memorable and easy to read. His range may be limited, but so is the part. Silvio has to look like a parody, but still be a real threat. That balance is why he works, and why some can't picture him as the boss, even if it was considered. He also fits well in other projects with a similar style. While the main series keeps its logic tight, later spin-offs are less careful. The prequel film creates a new problem. Silvio looks much older than expected, already balding in the late 1960s, even though the series shows him as Tony's peer. This leads to confusing timeline debates. Some references suggest Silvio has known Tony since he was a kid, hinting at an age gap. Other stories place Silvio in a young crew in the 1970s, which could fit a small gap, but looks odd when the prequel shows him as middle-aged while Tony is still young. Fans try to explain this by ignoring outside sources, pointing to the lack of clear dates, or saying early balding is possible. None of these answers are satisfying, because the real issue isn't the math. It's feeling like you have to solve a puzzle the show should have handled. More proof of the crew's hierarchy comes when they forget themselves and joke without thinking. Fat Dom Gamiello's death after he kept teasing about Vito is a bloody reminder. Jokes are often about power, and the wrong joke can be fatal. The crew always knows where the invisible lines are, and they've seen laughter turn deadly. When jokes about Silvio do happen, they're about his habits, not his appearance. There are playful references to his odd routines, like leaving cheese in socks, which make him seem quirky but still untouchable. Even crude comments from Christopher are just noise, not real challenges to Silvio's status. This careful approach extends to his vulnerable moments. When Silvio is hospitalized or in a coma, his hair stays perfect, almost like a ritual. It's a production choice that keeps his image intact, but it also fits the story. Even unconscious, Silvio isn't to be diminished. Taking away his signature look would feel like taking away his role. Silvio's symbolic role is why some see him as a tool for the writers, delivering sharp observations. He often cuts through excuses with a simple question, or exposes hypocrisy without drama. In episodes about ethnic pride, he's the loudest about Italian-American recognition. But his complaints come from the same narrow view the show critiques. His flaws are treated as comic relief, not deep crises. Later, his weight gain becomes a source of jokes about food, which are low stakes and shared by the group. This brings us to the prequel film. Some see it as a cash grab, made to profit from nostalgia, while others say it was in development earlier. The harshest critics call it fan service, more like a product launch than a real continuation, and feel it's an unfair ending for the actors. Despite all this, the main question remains: why doesn't the crew mock Silvio's hair and suits when they mock everything else? Because they don't actually mock everything. They're protecting the hierarchy, managing risk, and picking targets who will either laugh or lose control. Silvio does neither. He's too important, too steady, and too ready to respond with action instead of jokes. He's also not fragile like the others. His ego isn't looking for praise, it's enforcing rules. Silvio is also protected by the crew's own lack of style. These men aren't tastemakers. They dress for show, eat for status, and act on impulse. They call themselves family, but treat loyalty as a commodity. Their fashion is tacky, their manners worse, and their morals non-existent. In that world, mocking Silvio's hair is like criticizing a burning building for ugly curtains. If anything, his look gives the group a way to pretend they're real mobsters. The jokes that do come up, about food or takeout, are safe because they're minor. The crew avoids mocking the person who represents their seriousness, who can kill a joke with a look. The show sometimes highlights this by showing Silvio in charge when Tony is out, staying calm while others panic. It's not heroism, it's competence. And in this world, competence is the closest thing to virtue. In the end, the lack of jokes about Silvio's appearance isn't a plot hole, it's a character detail. It quietly shows that the crew's anything goes culture is a myth. There are limits enforced by power, not morality. Silvio is close enough to the center that mocking him isn't worth it, and the show wisely lets that silence speak for itself. The hair, the suits, the swagger, they're all ridiculous. The fact that no one says so is the most telling detail. Subscribe for more.